done? What came over me? Who am I? It was wonderful. I loved every minute of it.
At 78, Sally Field finally feels ready to open up about Robin Williams and what their friendship truly meant to her. For years, fans have speculated about the bond the two shared, especially after working together on one of the most beloved family films of the 1990s. But Sally has often kept her thoughts private, speaking only briefly about their connection in interviews. Now, with decades of perspective behind her, she has chosen to speak with honesty and depth, revealing how their lives touched in ways few people ever understood. To really appreciate her words, though, we have to take a step back and look at her life in full, from her beginnings in Southern California to her rise in Hollywood, and ultimately to the lessons and friendships that defined her along the way. Sally Margaret Field was born on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California. She grew up in a home that was deeply connected to the entertainment industry, a fact that would quietly shape her destiny. Her mother, Margaret Field, was an actress who had appeared in films throughout the 1940s and 1950s, while her stepfather, Jock Mahoney, was both an actor and a renowned stuntman. Hollywood was in her blood from the very beginning. But life at home wasn't always easy. Her parents' marriage had its difficulties, and the instability around her childhood left Sally with an early sense of insecurity. At the same time, the energy of Southern California, full of sunshine, creativity, and a vibrant cultural mix, gave her a front-row seat to the possibilities of performance. These influences, both bright and difficult, laid the foundation for her future in show business. Her first big break came in the mid-1960s, when she was cast in the television sitcom Gidget. The series, which ran from 1965 to 1966, followed the adventures of a spirited teenage girl, and while it only lasted one season, it left a lasting impression. Sally's portrayal of the fun-loving, relatable character made her an instant favorite with viewers. For many young audiences, she wasn't just a TV character. She was someone they saw themselves in. This early role introduced her natural charm to the world and established her as a rising star, even though Sally herself wasn't always comfortable with the attention. Just 2 years later, she took on the role that would truly cement her place in television history. Sister Bertrille in The Flying Nun, which aired from 1967 to 1970. The show's concept was unusual. A novice nun whose lightweight frame and winged habit allowed her to literally fly. On paper, it sounded almost absurd, but Sally's comedic timing, warmth, and ability to make the character lovable carried the series. Week after week, she balanced humor with heart, endearing herself to audiences across America. Yet, behind the smiles and laughter, Sally struggled with the limitations of the role. She feared being trapped in a typecast mold, the cheerful, quirky girl, and longed for opportunities that would allow her to explore deeper emotions and more serious characters. That hunger to be taken seriously as an actress drove her to take a bold step. Determined to prove she was more than a sitcom star, Sally began rigorous acting training. She studied at the prestigious Actors Studio under Lee Strasberg, one of the most respected teachers of his time. Strasberg encouraged her to dig into her emotional core, to use her own life experiences as fuel for her performances. This training gave Sally the tools she needed to transform herself from a light comedic actress into a dramatic powerhouse. The turning point came in 1976 when she starred in the made-for-TV movie Sybil. In Sybil, Sally played a young woman suffering from dissociative identity disorder, a condition that required her to portray over a dozen distinct personalities. It was a role of staggering complexity, and Sally threw herself into it with fearless dedication. Her performance was nothing short of groundbreaking, displaying raw intensity and vulnerability that stunned audiences and critics alike. For the first time, people saw a new side of Sally Field. Not just a charming television actress, but a serious artist capable of handling some of the most demanding material in Hollywood. Her work earned her an Emmy Award and marked a decisive turning point in her career. By the late 1970s, Sally had fully entered what many consider her golden era. In 1979, she starred in Norma Ray, playing a working-class woman who becomes a passionate labor union activist. The role was both politically charged and emotionally powerful, and Sally embodied it with such conviction that she won her first Academy Award for Best Actress. The film didn't just showcase her acting talent. It turned her into a symbol of strength and determination, especially for women in America who related to the struggles of balancing work, dignity, and survival. 5 years later, Sally reached the pinnacle once again with Places in the Heart, 1984, a Depression-era drama in which she played a widow fighting to keep her farm and family intact. The performance earned her a second Oscar, and her acceptance speech became one of the most memorable moments in Academy Awards history. With tears in her eyes, she exclaimed, "You like me, right now, you like me." Though sometimes misquoted and parodied, the line revealed her deep vulnerability and need for acceptance, a sentiment that resonated far beyond Hollywood. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Sally proved her versatility again and again. She could make audiences laugh in light-hearted films like Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, move them to tears in Steel Magnolias, 1989, and win their hearts in family classics like Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993. It was on the set of Mrs. Doubtfire that she formed her unforgettable connection with Robin Williams. Playing his ex-wife, she witnessed up close his brilliant improvisation, his endless energy, and his ability to bring both humor and pain into a single moment. Their chemistry was undeniable, and behind the scenes, Sally discovered the quieter, more vulnerable side of Robin that the public rarely saw. Later, she would reveal that working with him changed her perspective on friendship, resilience, and the hidden struggles that so many people carry. In addition to her film work, Sally continued to shine on television. From 2006 to 2011, she starred in Brothers and Sisters, a family drama that earned her yet another Emmy Award. She also proved her stage talent with performances on Broadway, including a critically acclaimed role in The Glass Menagerie, where her theatrical presence impressed even the toughest critics. Unlike many stars who fade as they age, Sally only grew stronger, constantly reinventing herself while remaining true to her craft. Even in her later years, Sally's career reached new heights. In 2012, she portrayed Mary Todd Lincoln in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. The role demanded emotional weight and historical accuracy, and Sally delivered a performance so layered and compelling that it earned her yet another Academy Award nomination. At an age when most actors slow down, she was proving she still had more to give, more to say, and more stories to tell. But while her career has been filled with triumphs, Sally has never shied away from admitting her struggles. She has spoken openly about her insecurities, her battles with self-doubt, and the immense pressure of Hollywood. In 2018, she published her memoir, In Pieces, a brutally honest exploration of her personal and professional life. In the book, she shared painful details about her family dynamics, her relationships, and the difficult road she traveled to find her voice. The memoir resonated with readers because it was so unflinchingly real, much like her performances. It wasn't just the story of a star, it was the story of a woman who, despite fame and success, still grappled with the same questions of identity, worth, and belonging that so many people face. Sally's personal life has long been a subject of fascination. In 1968, at the age of 22, she married Stephen Craig, her first husband. Like many young marriages, it was marked by challenges and growth. Their relationship reflected the tension between personal life and professional ambition, a balancing act that Sally would struggle with throughout her life. Though the marriage eventually ended, it became part of the larger journey that shaped her resilience and outlook on love and family. Through it all, Sally Field's story has remained one of authenticity and courage. She has never been afraid, to show her vulnerability, whether in front of the camera, on stage, or in the pages of her memoir. And when she speaks about Robin Williams, about his brilliance, his struggles, and the way he touched her life, it carries a weight that only someone who has lived through both joy and heartbreak can truly understand. Their connection was not just about co-starring in a movie. It was about two souls, both searching for acceptance and peace, finding a moment of truth in each other. What made Sally's relationship with Robin Williams so profound was the way their personalities, though vastly different on the surface, carried similar undercurrents of vulnerability. On the set of Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin was the whirlwind, the one who could make the crew double over in laughter, who could shift his voice into half a dozen impressions in the span of a single scene. Sally, in contrast, was steady, grounded, and often the calm in the storm of Robin's boundless energy. But between takes, when the cameras stopped rolling, she noticed something that the audience never would: a quiet sadness in his eyes, a gentleness that seemed almost fragile. It was in those moments that Sally realized Robin was more than a comedic genius. He was also a man wrestling with pain that no amount of laughter could completely cover. Sally later admitted that this duality, the manic brilliance and the quiet ache beneath it, drew her closer to Robin. She respected him not just as an actor, but as a person who carried heavy burdens while still managing to bring light to the world. In interviews years later, she reflected on how much she learned from his ability to make people feel seen, even while he himself often felt invisible. Their conversations off-camera weren't about Hollywood gossip or career ambitions. They were about family, about self-doubt, and about the need for connection in an industry that could be isolating and cruel. To Sally, Robin wasn't just a co-star. He was a reminder that even the brightest stars can carry shadows. When Robin passed away in 2014, the news hit Sally with a force she wasn't fully prepared for. Like so many others, she was devastated by the loss, but for her, it was personal. She had seen behind the mask, seen the moments when Robin let down his defenses, and she understood the depth of his struggle. Speaking publicly about his death, she described him as the most generous spirit she had ever known. But behind her words was also a quiet sorrow, the sorrow of knowing that someone so full of love and laughter had felt so alone in his final moments. Even now, at 78, when she speaks about Robin, her voice carries that same mix of admiration and grief. Beyond her connection to Robin, Sally's later years have been defined by her continued honesty and her refusal to retreat from the spotlight. Unlike many actors who step away quietly, Sally has remained vocal about the issues that matter to her. She has used her platform to advocate for women's rights, to speak about the challenges of aging in Hollywood, and to support causes she believes in. Her willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, both about the industry and about herself, has made her a voice of authenticity in a world that often values image over reality. Her career, spanning over 6 decades, is not just a list of roles and awards. It is a testament to resilience, to the courage of reinventing oneself, and to the power of vulnerability. From Gidget to Lincoln, from sitcom star to Academy Award winner, Sally's journey has shown that success is not about avoiding failure, but about embracing growth. She has been typecast, doubted, underestimated, and criticized, yet she has emerged time and again with performances that silence her detractors and remind the world of her brilliance. Even her memoir, In Pieces, was not written as a glossy recounting of fame, but as an unflinching exploration of the scars and struggles that shaped her. In its pages, she discussed painful memories of her childhood, the complexities of her relationships, and the battles she fought with her own sense of worth. For many fans, the book was a revelation, not because it added to her fame, but because it showed her humanity. It reminded them that Sally Field, the star who seemed so strong on screen, was also someone who had endured heartbreak, abuse, and self-doubt, and had still found the courage to keep moving forward. In her personal life, Sally's role as a mother has been central. She has often spoken about how raising her 3 sons grounded her and gave her purpose beyond Hollywood. Balancing motherhood. With a demanding career was never easy, but Sally has said that being a parent helped her maintain perspective in an industry that can so easily distort reality. Her family became her anchor, a source of love and stability that carried her through the highs and lows of fame. Her relationships, too, have shaped her journey. After her marriage to Stephen Craig ended, Sally went on to have a high-profile relationship with Burt Reynolds, a romance that was both passionate and tumultuous. Though their relationship ultimately didn't last, Burt remained a significant figure in her life, and after his passing, Sally spoke openly about the complexities of their love story. She described it as both joyful and painful, a reflection of the fact that even the most glamorous relationships can be filled with challenges. Yet perhaps it is her friendship with Robin Williams that stands out most in the hearts of fans. In many ways, it encapsulates what people love about Sally Field: her ability to see beyond the surface, to connect with the deeper humanity in others. When she talks about Robin, she doesn't dwell on the tragedy of his death, but on the beauty of his spirit, the kindness, the generosity, and the way he made people feel. It is a reminder that sometimes the greatest legacy is not the roles we play or the awards we win, but the impact we have on the lives around us. Today, As Sally reflects on her life and career, she does so with a mixture of gratitude and humility. At 78, she is not just a Hollywood legend, but a woman who has lived fully, loved deeply, and faced her struggles with honesty. Her story is not just about fame or success, but about resilience, vulnerability, and the connections that define us. And when she speaks about Robin Williams, it is with the kind of truth that only comes from a lifetime of experience. A truth that acknowledges both the light he brought to the world and the pain he carried within. Sally Field's life reminds us that even the brightest stars are human, that behind the laughter and applause are real people with real struggles. Her journey, from the wide-eyed teenager in Gidget to the Oscar-winning powerhouse of Norma Rae to the reflective woman who looks back on her friendship with Robin Williams, is a testament to the power of authenticity. It is why, after more than 6 decades in the spotlight, Sally Field continues to be beloved not just as an actress, but as a person. And it is why, when she finally tells the truth about Robin Williams, the world listens. Because her words carry the weight of a life lived